In the crimson swamps of prehistoric North Africa, a realm painted in hues of blood and rust by iron-rich sediments, a colossal predator reigned supreme. This was the era of Spinosaurus, a theropod of unparalleled scale and unique adaptation, a creature born of both land and water. Its elongated, crocodile-like snout, packed with conical, pressure-sensitive teeth, was an instrument of death, perfectly designed to detect and snatch a slippery, writhing fish from the murky depths. The magnificent sail that rose from its back, a structure of neural spines draped in skin, was a declaration of its dominance. A vibrant billboard that perhaps served in thermoregulation, display, or even as a keel to stabilize it in the aquatic theater of its life. This semi-automatic hunter patrolled the intricate network of rivers and estuaries, a ghost in the water, its massive paddle-like tail propelling it with silent, deadly grace. The water was its larder, teeming with giant sea. For the Spinosaurus, the hunt was a constant, a biological imperative woven into its very being. A day without a kill was a day closer to starvation, a fate that even the mightiest could not outrun. The swamp was a buffet, but it was also a battlefield, and every meal was a victory hard won. On this particular day, a magnificent Spinosaurus, a bull, in its prime measuring over 50 feet from snout to tail, felt the familiar pangs of hunger. The usual shoals of Onchopristis, the giant sawfish, were scarce. Their migratory patterns shifted by some unseen change in the currents, or a subtle alteration in the water's temperature. The air was thick and heavy, promising a storm, and the usual cacophony of the swamp was muted, a tense silence hanging over the cypress-like trees. The Spinosaurus, driven by an instinct honed over millennia, knew it had to adapt its strategy. It waded deeper into a wide, slow-moving channel, its colossal feet sinking into the soft, red mud. Its eyes, positioned high on its skull, scanned the surface, searching for any ripple, any disturbance that betrayed the presence of life beneath. The scent of a recent kill, perhaps a Sarcosuchus, feasting on a small dinosaur, drifted on the humid breeze. But it was distant, and the Spinosaurus needed sustenance. It lowered its head, submerging the tip of its snout, a living sonar array, into the water. The pits and foramina dotting its jawline came alive, sensing the minute pressure changes, the faint electrical fields emitted by the muscle contractions of hidden prey. It was a patient hunter, a statue of flesh and bone, waiting for the swamp to offer up its bounty. The sun beat down on its sail, warming its massive body, but its focus was entirely on the world beneath the water's opaque surface. Suddenly, a large, dark shape materialized in the gloom. It was not a fish. This was something far larger, more substantial. The Spinosaurus's predatory brain fired. The shape was slow, deliberate, and armored. An Archelon, the largest sea turtle who have ever lived, had wandered inland, perhaps following a high tide or a newly formed channel connecting the swamp to the nearby Tithys Sea. This was an anomaly, a creature of the open ocean navigating the claustrophobic confines of the freshwater maze. Its shell, a leathery carapace, nearly 12 feet in diameter, was a formidable shield, a fortress of bone and keratin that had protected its lineage for millions of years. For the Spinosaurus, however, it represented a challenge and a massive potential reward. A creature of this size would provide a feast that could sustain it for weeks. The risk was immense, but the hunger was greater. The dinosaur shifted its weight, its powerful hind legs tensing, preparing for an explosive confrontation. The Archelon, for its part, seemed largely unaware of the looming threat. Its concerns were simpler: foraging for the jellyfish-like creatures that sometimes populated these brackish waters, or finding a suitable place to rest. It paddled serenely, a placid giant in a world of tooth and claw, its ancient eyes holding a wisdom that predated the dinosaurs themselves. The Spinosaurus lunged. A geyser of red water erupted as its massive body surged forward. It didn't aim for the shell. Its instincts were far too refined for such a futile gesture. Instead, it targeted the turtle's exposed head and powerful, fleshy flippers. The Archelon, startled from its placid journey, reacted with surprising speed. It snapped its own formidable, beak-like mouth, a guillotine of bone capable of shearing through thick vegetation and the bodies of smaller marine animals. The turtle retracted its head and limbs, as best it could, tucking them in close to the protective eaves of its carapace. The Spinosaurus's initial attack was a near miss, its conical teeth scraping harmlessly against the incredibly tough, bone-fused upper shell, sending a jarring vibration through its skull. The sound was like a boulder grinding against bedrock. The turtle, now fully alerted to the danger, used its massive front flippers to power a sudden dive, stirring up a blinding cloud of red silt from the riverbed. The Spinosaurus was left momentarily disoriented, its vision obscured, its sensitive snout now filled with a taste of mud instead of a potential meal. The battle had been joined, and the first round went to the defender. Undeterred, the Spinosaurus pressed its attack. It was a siege, a test of power and persistence against an almost impregnable fortress. The dinosaur used its immense size to its advantage, attempting to corral the turtle, to push it into shallower water where it would be less mobile, its flippers rendered useless in the thick mud. It circled its quarry, its sail cutting through the water like a shark's fin, a symbol of relentless, predatory intent. Again and again, it snapped at the fleeting targets of the turtle's head and limbs. Each attempt met with a swift retraction and the unyielding defense of the shell. The Archelon was a master of defense, a living bunker, but the Spinosaurus was a master of the siege. It began to change its tactics. Instead of a direct assault, it used its powerful forelimbs, each armed with 3 menacing claws, to try and flip the turtle onto its back. If it could expose the softer, less protected plastron, the battle would be over. The dinosaur slammed its shoulder into the side of the Archelon, the impact sending shockwaves through the water. The turtle was shunted sideways, but its low center of gravity and sheer mass kept it upright. It was like trying to topple a mountain. The struggle was a maelstrom of churning water and primal fury. The Spinosaurus, growing frustrated, drove its snout down with immense force, not to bite, but to pin the turtle to the riverbed. The pressure was immense, but the Archelon's shell, an evolutionary marvel, was designed to withstand the crushing depths of the ocean. It held firm. The turtle, trapped but not defeated, flailed its powerful flippers, gouging at the Spinosaurus's legs and underbelly with the surprisingly sharp edges of its shell. While not inflicting deep wounds, the constant scraping and buffeting was an annoyance, a distraction. The battle of attrition wore on. In this chaotic ballet, another contender emerged from the depths, disturbed by the commotion. It was a Stupendemys, a giant freshwater turtle, even more at home in this environment than the Arctic. Its shell was not leathery, but a solid, dome-like structure of pure bone, one of the hardest natural armors ever to evolve. Its temperament was far more aggressive than its marine cousin, its powerful, beaked jaw known for its bone-crushing force. It saw the Spinosaurus, the apex predator, distracted and engaged. An opportunity. The Stupendemys, seeing the larger Spinosaurus as a threat to its territory, did not hesitate. It surged forward and delivered a powerful, ramming bite to the Spinosaurus's leg. The dinosaur roared in pain and shock, its concentration on the Archelon broken. The sudden, sharp agony from this new assailant was too much. The Spinosaurus had committed its resources to a single, difficult target, leaving itself vulnerable. It had underestimated the dangers of the swamp. It was not just a larder, but a realm competitors, each armed and dangerous in its own right. The Archelon, sensing the shift in the battle, used the moment of distraction to make its escape, paddling with renewed vigor towards the deeper, safer channels that led back to the open sea. The Spinosaurus, now bleeding from a gash on its leg and facing a new, aggressive, and equally well-armored opponent, made a calculated decision. The energy expenditure was becoming too great, the risk of serious injury too high. The element of surprise was gone, and the potential reward of the Archelon was now swimming away. With a final frustrated hiss directed at the pugnacious Stupendemys, the great predator disengaged. It limped towards the bank. Its grand hunt, a failure. The swamp had defended its own. The giant turtles, with their nigh-impenetrable shells, had proven that in this ancient world, defense could be the greatest weapon of all. The siege was over. The fortress had won.